What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's the Resistance. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We got one more hour to 2022. Are you ready? Are you ready? But before we get to 2022, we're going to talk about all the reasons to not trust your motherfucking government all the way up until the year you was born to 2021. We're going to talk about it. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Look, a resistor, Weymouth, UK. My man, how you doing? Thank you for joining me. Resisting level is futile. Scrubzilla. Jose Zelino de Viega. Renetta Williams. The Queen, all the way from Wynn, Arkansas. Appreciate you. Jonathan Nicola, my man, Scrubzilla, Motor City Free Press. Perfect sense. Adam Claus, we got a new member, ladies and gentlemen. Adam Claus, we about to get into this situation. We got some time, so I hope y'all got some time to stick with me. All right. How about a quick commercial real quick? Hit the lights! Everybody about to get killed out here. Like it for everybody. We're about to get into this top 20 reasons not to trust your government. Can y'all think of any reasons? If y'all can, put it in the chat. We're not going to waste too much more time on this. I'm just going to turn my audio down on an instrumental tip real quick. There we go. That's real smooth right there. We good right there. Okay. Y'all ready? Shout out to everybody in the chat. Is y'all ready? Here we go. Shout out to Kevin Spade. Here we go. Number 20. Repeated violations of the First Amendment. See, we hear this all the time in this community, in this 1A community. We hear this all the time. So that's why I made it number 20. Okay? Because we know all about the repeated violations of what they do to keep us from talking. Okay? Y'all know firsthand from my motherfucking camera. And it ain't real hard to see because y'all already seen it before. I'm going to continue this silent audit as long as possible, y'all. Let's have Mass General Hospital, ladies and gentlemen. I started off with a silent audit. Very silent. Try not to say nothing to anybody. I was minding my business and I was in public. But you'll hear the guard try to claim that I'm on Mass General Hospital property, which is not true. So the whole point is that he was violating my First Amendment by telling me I had to leave that area to record. Shout out to OKC Cal. The reason why you want me off the property?
So we have no filming allowed on our Jewish property. There's an active ambulance ramp right now with patients. We're asking to respect patient privacy. There's also numerous staff members, so if they want to secure what people are filming on that, they have to work.
They feel.
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, their feelings doesn't make me committing a crime. So, however they feel, I'm sorry about that, but I'm here conducting a story. So I'm gonna have to challenge you on that because right now I am on a public sidewalk. Okay, and it's actually a hydrant right there on the y'all. Do you guys own that hydrant right there?
Probably not, sir.
Yeah. No matter how much I try to show this clown that I'm in public, it's a fire hydrant there. There's a street sign. I haven't even crossed the crosswalk that goes up into their property. I made sure I played it clean because I'm always clean. Okay? But once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is a violation of my First Amendment because I was out there recording and I also got pissed off because he told me that I couldn't record, which led me to protest, okay? Which went into my freedom of speech. As I move along, it gets worse. I got that assholeian in my blood. I mean, what you expect? 407 years of this country being assholes, I'm the byproduct of it. Call me assholeian. Yo, my man, what's your name, bro? What's your name? Hey, TJ. So, my man, let me tell you something, right? Take this, right? I'm gonna tell you this man to man so you don't be talking about ain't no motherfucking kids around this shit, right? Listen to this. Don't you ever approach a motherfucking private citizen, okay? And tell them what the fuck to do. Especially when you're a fucking security guard. Shut the fuck up. Man, shut the fuck up and listen to what the fuck I'm saying. You can't place me in. I want to see that. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Man, fuck you. I'm not getting on no fucking ground. I don't have to. I'm on public property. I'm on public. You cannot arrest me. No, you can't. No, you can't. No, you can't. Huh. Congress should make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or other press or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition for a redress of grievances. A redress of grievances. That was my freedom of speech that was violated, and that was my freedom of press that was violated, all because I was out there with a camera and they felt as though I shouldn't have been out there. And because I had a problem with them telling me I shouldn't have been out there and I vocalized that thoroughly, is what led to my arrest. Same thing happened in Providence, Rhode Island. And guess what? That case got beat. That case got beat because I did nothing wrong. I did not commit a crime. Let's get into it.
So they arrested medics so they couldn't help you. Essentially.
Trickle his way all the way down to the bottom. All y'all pieces of shits right now. And I'm telling that to all y'all faces. All of y'all. I'm addressing all of y'all. Especially the piece of shit who threatened to lock me up for not doing anything. Providence, Rhode Island, that case got beat. Y'all go ahead about it. It's all documented. Y'all want to lock me up? It's documented. Federal lawsuit coming y'all way. I dare y'all. September I dare y'all to lock me up. I'm addressing all of y'all.
Put your hands behind your back.
Do what? What did I do? What did I do? Straight locked up. Why? Exercising my freedom of speech. It's all in the catalog. Y'all could go back. All the newcomers, please, I invite you. Go back to the beginning. Come to YouTube. Start at the beginning, ladies and gentlemen. Travel with me through the journey that I've been through. You'll see. Somebody messaged me today. They sent me a comment and said, hey, Resistance, why all you do is just share other people's videos? And I told them, I said, hey, you got to come to the beginning. All right, start at YouTube. Start at the beginning and look at about the first 100, 150, 200 videos where I've done this from the muscle. I've done it by myself, where I've approached cops and challenged them with the law. You know, times change, priorities change, and the stakes get bigger. So, everything don't remain the same. Maybe in your time, but not in my time. So, switching it up and doing a different thing is always good for change. But I got bigger priorities, and to answer that question, that's why I'm not out on the streets like that. It is what it is. Okay? Won't say I won't be out there. Won't say I won't be out there and I see something go down with police officers and not record the situation. I'm going to record the situation if it's opportune time. But I feel as though I put myself in the line of fire more than enough times. This is just the back burner right here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I digress. Let's get back to the countdown. Number 19. Increasing restrictions towards the Second Amendment. Increasing restrictions towards the Second Amendment. Now, this is a little spoiler. I did 3 amendments in this countdown, and I wanted to get all 3 of them out the way on the first, on the first countdowns. So this is where I'm at. I'm at the Second Amendment. Increasing restrictions towards the Second Amendment.
After another mass shooting, President Biden now calling to tighten gun law. After another mass shooting, President Biden now calling to tighten gun laws.
I don't need to wait another minute, let alone an hour, to take common sense steps that will save lives in the future.
Nullifying unconstitutional federal laws is both legal and it's also the right thing to do. It's clear as day that a lot of the gun laws that are being debated now would totally infringe the Second Amendment. It could be decades before the Supreme Court makes its mind up. It's silly to sit around and wait for something is unconstitutional. It's time to stand up and fight back, and the methods that we need to use are the ones already being used by the left.
A message to all you red, hot-blooded, breaded Americans who stand tall and hard on a Second Amendment. This is for you. The more and more time goes by, they are restricting what you can do with your peace. Okay? A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. It shall not be infringed.
1987.
But this is what they do.
Oregon passed a law prohibiting state and local law enforcement from using public resources to arrest or detain people whose only crime was being in the country illegally. Since then, hundreds of other jurisdictions have passed similar laws, becoming what's known as sanctuary cities. There's a new movement among conservative gun rights activists to employ the same strategy. Lawmakers have introduced bills in more than a dozen states that would nullify federal gun control laws. On April 6, Arizona Governor Doug Ducey signed a gun control nullification bill into law. Montana and West Virginia's legislatures have each approved bills that are now awaiting signature or veto from their governor.
All these people doing is just sign this shit to restrict what you do to protect you and your family. Check that out. They keep coming down on you. And we ain't talking about criminals, even though we can talk about criminals, because I do believe that no matter what you've done in your past, you should be able to protect you and your family. Self-preservation is the first law of man. But we're going to stick with the law-abiding people, those good Second Amendment people that stick by their side, stand tall, and have all the pride that they have when they bear their arms. I'm talking about these people, these good, wholesome American people. You should see that you shouldn't trust these motherfuckers because they're trying to take the very protection away from you. They want to make you think that they got you. Everything they do, everything that goes on in your life, they'll protect you with. That's what they want you to think. Nah. Y'all better stand tall. Y'all better stand tall.
The Arkansas Senate and the Missouri and South Carolina Houses have each passed such bills, and committees in Texas, Alabama, and New Hampshire have bills that are moving forward in their state legislatures, and similar bills have been introduced in Florida, North Carolina, Georgia, Minnesota, Ohio, Nebraska, Iowa, and Louisiana.
James Madison in Federalist 46, he told us what needs to be done by individuals, cities, and states to defeat federal programs without relying on the federal government to limit itself. He said specifically a refusal to cooperate with officers of the union. This is how you defeat the feds, whether it's an unconstitutional act or if you just don't like the policy.
Michael Bolden is the founder.
We nullify that federal act.
That was from James Madison. He said if they put some bullshit out, the only way that you can nullify that shit is by going against it or going to war. Not doing anything about it, not paying attention to that law that they put out at all, or going to war. James Madison. Well, see, we've been subjected to be obedient. All right, we've been trained to be obedient. And it's been over a course of years. Over a course of years that it took for everybody to be fucking trained to listen to what these motherfuckers say. And this is why we can't trust our motherfucking government.
In practice and effect.
Bolden says that the legal case for nullification doesn't depend on the constitutionality of the law that a state wants to nullify, thanks to a legal doctrine known as anti-commandeering, which has been upheld in 5 Supreme Court cases stretching from 1842 to 2018. It states that the federal government can't require states and localities to participate in the enforcement of federal laws.
Talking about constitutionality actually does kind of get in the way of anti-commandeering because you don't actually have to address the constitutionality of something to say you're not going to participate. A lot of people like that as a line in the sand, and
there you go. They steady increasing restrictions on gun rights. That's another reason to make you think we shouldn't be trusting this government. We shouldn't be putting everything we got into this government. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Resistance level is futile. A teenager in Texas blasted 3 at a convenience store. His dad drove him and the dad been arrested. Right. I'm pretty sure she's referring that to gun rights. Scrubzilla said they're afraid of us, and all who own guns, they know they can never take over unless they suppress the second. There you go. That's what it is right there. Scrubzilla said it best. Number 18. The 10th Amendment is slowly escaping the people's reach. Remember Portland, Oregon? The 10th Amendment is slowly escaping the people's reach. Remember what happened last year? Earlier this year? I think it lasted all the way to earlier this year in Portland, Oregon.
This afternoon, a second lawsuit being filed against the federal government over the Trump administration's deployment of federal officers to the streets of Portland. The suit calls it, at the very least, a violation of the 10th Amendment of the Constitution. That lawsuit was filed today by Oregon State Representatives Karen Power and Janelle Bynum, attorneys Sarah Eddy, and others. It wants a permanent restraining order against all the defendants. Those defendants are the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, U.S. Customs and Border Protection, the Federal Protective Service, and the U.S. Marshals Service. More details on that entire lawsuit can be found on Coin.com.
And remember this from Trump? And no, y'all can't. Listen, all y'all got to do is do the research yourself. I'm just throwing it back in y'all face. Okay? See, we get caught up in all this Monday Night Football, all the latest music that came out, the movies on Netflix, all this entertainment's even better than going to the theaters now because it's right in your face, right in your home. So we get caught up in all that, and we forget the dumb shit that our government be saying to us. Remember Trump said this?
Mr. President, following up on that, there are two consortiums of states today, California, Oregon, Washington on the West Coast, northeastern states, totally representing about 100 million people, who said they're going to cooperate and decide when to reopen.
Well, they can decide, but
what you're trying to
no, not at all. Let me just tell you very simple. I'm going to put it very simply. The President of the United States has the authority to do what the President has the authority. The United States has the authority to do what the President has the authority to do, which is
the President of the United States has the authority to do what the President has the authority to do over the states of this country. He been lying like a motherfucker, first of all. But second of all, he's trying to make an impression. He's bullying to all the governors, senators, all the people that's, on the local level. Basically saying, I run this shit, y'all gonna go by what I say, which is a lie. But the 10th Amendment is slowly escaping the people's reach.
It's very powerful. The President of the United States calls the shots. If we weren't here for the states, you would have had a problem in this country like you've never seen before. We were here to back them up, and we've more than backed them up. We did a job that nobody ever thought was possible. It's a decision for the President of the United States. Now, with that being said, we're going to work with the states because it's very important. You have local governments. They're pinpointed. It's really, you talk about, like a microchip. They're pinpointed. We have local government that hopefully will do a good job. And if they don't do a good job, I'd step in so fast. But no, they can't do anything without the approval of the President of the United States.
So if some states refuse to reopen and you order them to, the 10th Amendment of the Constitution says all powers that don't reside in the President of the Congress reside in the states. How do you overcome that?
Well, if some states refuse to open?
He was just confronted. With the Constitution. The reporter confronted him with the Constitution. Listen to this shit.
Reside in the President of the Congress, reside in the states. How do you overcome that?
Well, if some states refuse to open, I would like to see that person run for election. They're going to open. They're going to all open.
The ballot box.
I think that's something that's not going to happen. They want to open. They have to open. They have to get open. Every one of those states, the people want to go, and they want to. Now, some are in a different situation. You have, I won't name states now, but I will over the next 2 or 3 days. I'm going to be very specific. But you have some states where this is not the kind of a problem that it is in New York.
So this is the problem. Whether he went full throttle with it, whether he was talking bullshit and just halfway in it. But we've seen what happened in Portland. Right? The thing about it is, if he could just say that boldly in front of the country and just say things that he can't do, that's what I look at as the soft squeeze, trying to ease your way in by saying, yeah, I could do whatever the fuck I want. And then when time passed, start doing what the fuck they want, as they have been doing. Okay? But pick up the patterns on this shit. Pick up the pieces.
For Louisiana or Michigan or other places that got hit very hard. Illinois got hit very hard. But all states want to open, and they want to open as soon as possible, but they want to open safely, and so do I.
Just to clarify your understanding of your authority vis-a-vis governors, just to be very specific. For instance, if a governor issued a stay-at-home
order... When you say my authority, the president's authority, not mine, because it's not...
The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively, or to the people. 10th Amendment. 10th Amendment. And we got this fool right here addressing the nation with this bullshit.
I mean, this is, when somebody's the president of the United States, the authority is total. And that's the way it's got to be.
The authority is total.
It's total. And the governors know that.
So if
the governors know that. Now you have a couple of bands of excuse me. You have a couple.
Could you rescind that order?
You have a couple of bands of Democrat governors, but they will agree to it. But the authority of the President of the United States having to do with the subject we're talking about is total.
You said when someone is President of the United States, their authority is total. That is not true.
Okay, you know what we're going to do? we're going to write up papers on this. It's not going to be necessary.
They're going to write up papers on it against the Constitution.
Because ultimately, it comes with the federal government. That being said, we're getting along very well with the governors, and I feel very certain that there won't be a problem. Yeah, please, go ahead.
There you go. There you go. So we just got the amendments out. I told y'all that was going to be the first three, 20 on down, from 20 to 18. All right. I want to go through this chat real quick. I want to thank everybody that's joined me. Perfect Sense. Perfect Sense is in the house. Scrubzilla is still rocking out with us. Scrubzilla is still rocking out with us. Resistant Level is futile. Celtic Pride. Shout out Scram Pooba once again. Nico Argotti. He said, to the resistance, I would like to wish you and your family a safe and a happy new year. Also looking forward to seeing more of your First Amendment audit. God bless my brother. God bless you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And yeah, when time allows it, you know, like I said, I got bigger priorities right now, and it's more important to me and more dear to my heart. So I do what I love. But you know, that doesn't say if I see something going on the streets, I won't pull my camera out and bring it to y'all. And that's real. Shout outs to everybody in the chat. So we're down to 17. We're down at number 17. Oh, Celtic Ride said, we need states that are free gun zones instead of gun-free zones. And in the free gun zones, no liberals are allowed and no conservatives or right-wing Republicans who support cops who arrest people for guns. He had that to say. And then somebody came back on him and said, hold on, where they at? I think I missed it. Somebody came back on him and had a response to that. I'm looking for it right now. I lost it though. But two interesting points. One that I just highlighted and a response that I can't find. Sorry about that, y'all. I seen it and I lost it. But Celtic Bride came back and said, wait a minute, Perfect Sense said the government don't care about us. Michael Jackson said it best. They don't really care about us. Celtic Bride said liberals want gun control claim to be against cops, but they're not. They want their protection as well. Republicans claim support for gun rights, but support cops who arrest people for exercising rights. Oh, God. Shout outs, Wake Up America and Resist. Yes. Not quite yet, but I'm going to give it to all of y'all in about 33 minutes. About 33 minutes. That 22 is going to be here. 22. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're down to number 17. Number 17 in the house. And number 17, the reason why you shouldn't trust your government is because the government is supposed to be separated from church. They're supposed to be separated from church, ladies and gentlemen. The church shouldn't have nothing to do with the government, and the government shouldn't have a goddamn thing to do with the church. Just like Bernie Mac say, when that happens, you're fucking with the church's money.
My family has been impacted by the virus. So for me, it is very personal. When we care about people, we put ourselves in a position to be protectors. And I think the vaccine is a surefire.
Pastor Richie Butler, ladies and gentlemen. Pastor Bootlicker Tap Dancing Richie Butler. Okay? He's sliding all around that studio right now as he's giving this speech to you about going to go do what he thinks you should do. All right? We know what he's talking about. You know? So, he's a pastor. What the fuck is he doing in the political world?
Our way to facilitate that role. We've had a virus that has caused, traumatic harm to economies, to families, to communities, to way of life. And as a pastor, my interaction with my congregation, as a community leader, I did not have any hesitancies. Is when is it coming out and when will we be eligible?
He had no hesitancies. To go and get what you see right there on your screen. He's sitting right there getting it. He's getting it. He's showing it to you, and he's trying to make you get it, okay? So all this fucking TV shit is all programming to get you to do what the fuck they want you to do, okay? And now he's bootlicking for some kind of position, all right? Well, he's just that fucking dumb that they elected him to get his fucking commercial. That's my point. I might be wrong. Just my point of view.
And then also, how can I get as many people educated, informed, so that they can get vaccinated? If we really care about people, we would take it upon ourselves to get vaccinated because it does make a difference.
Folks, no vaccine, no worship service. Yeah, that's the message.
What? No vaccine. You cannot praise the Lord. No vaccine. You will not be able to go to your house of worship and praise your Lord.
Folks, no vaccine, no worship service. Yeah, that's the message that one Metro Atlanta church is preaching to its members as COVID cases continue to surge in Georgia. In fact, Piney Grove Baptist Church in DeKalb County says it's requiring its worshipers to sign a waiver, get their temperature checked, and show proof of vaccination before attending any in-person services. The church has about 3,000 active members, and staff say they began implementing the requirements several weeks ago, even before the Delta variant started to become dominant.
We said we were going to follow the science, not our emotions.
We're going back to First Amendment with this one. Freedom of religion. But whatever my religion is, it's a good chance that when I go to that house of worship, they're going to want to see some motherfucking papers. As if I was in Nazi Germany. Walking down a cold-ass fucking road, going towards my house of worship, and some motherfuckers roll up on us asking me where the fuck I'm going. I'm saying I'm going to go praise my Lord. And they say, well, where are your papers? You got to have papers, okay, to have a cup of blood of Jesus.
Everybody wanted to come to church, but we want to follow the science, and we did just that.
Now, Piney Grove Baptist isn't the only church with COVID-19 safety protocols in place. Mount Ephraim Baptist in Bankhead is also asking members to show proof of their vaccine status and requiring masks. All the other churches on your screen are either recommending or also requiring masks, Aisha.
God damn.
What I want to say is thank you for all the work that you have done to provide this vaccine, for not giving up that through the pandemic, trying to be
another pastor, a female pastor, pushing the agenda of what she's speaking about. I don't have to say it. You hear it coming out of her motherfucking mouth behind the mask.
Open and be loving and just receiving with open arms all the people who are coming. The hospital didn't shut the doors, but opened them to help our community here.
So, you have to wonder, if the government and the church ain't separated, then what the fuck is they doing? There has to be some kind of profit, okay? Some type of benefit for being in cahoots with each other. And if you can't trust your motherfucking church to stay away from politics, then you're going to always have some fucking problems. Vice versa. If you got the government dipping in the motherfucking church pocket, same thing going on. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Scrubzilla, if we really were true Americans, we would respect others' choices instead of changing the actual definition of vaccine. Wake up, America, and resist us. This is how I found the Church of the Resistance. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are all the resistance. Woo, we got about a little less than a half hour to 2022. And I choose to spend it with you. Giving you the top motherfucking reasons to why not trust your government. And we just did number 17. Number 17 was the government is supposed to be separated from church. And we can see that they clearly not. Because they pushing the same motherfucking agenda. Everybody that just came through, don't know too much about the resistance. I appreciate y'all. We go to a quick commercial.
It's a very psychological thing that's happening here.
My next one. This is a good one for me. I like this one. This one is good. This one really has to do about me. A lot of people say, oh, it's always got to be about you, resistance. Everything's about you. This one is the fuck about me. Here we go. Number 16, censorship. I bet you a lot of y'all didn't even get the notification that I was going live with this tonight. I'm pretty sure somebody, about 2 or 3 people in this chat, because we only got 15. You know what? I like it like that. Shout out to everybody that's with me right now. I like it like that. We only got 15 in the chat. 16. Well, actually, it may be less than that because I'm cross-streaming. Let me see accurately. We got 13 on the Resistance channel on YouTube, and we got 3 on the Resistance channel on Facebook. And I'm good with that. But I guarantee half of y'all didn't even get the notification. I guarantee it. Censorship, ladies and gentlemen.
Have you ever come across this kind of error while surfing on the internet? It may be that the web page you're trying to access has been censored.
There's no secret that I'm shadow banned, ladies and gentlemen. There's no secret that my notifications don't get out. I've been receiving messages from loyal subscribers that saying, hey, I've been unsubscribed from your channel. And you know why? The real reason is because I don't go where the wind blows. I keep it real. I talks that shit and I keeps it real. And they don't like that. If I'm not pushing their narrative, they are not fucking with me. Simple as that.
Contrary to popular...
The internet is not a public sphere. It is a private sphere that tolerates public speech.
Contrary to popular belief, the internet is not as free and open as one might think. All of our activity on the internet passes through the hands of private corporations, and they decide what you can say or see on the internet.
But that's bullshit, though.
In China, for example, the government actively instructs internet service providers and their content hosts to police their services. They even go as far as handing out internet self-discipline awards to companies that contribute the most to a harmonious and healthy internet development.
And this is a ceremony I attended in 2009 where the top 20 websites in China received what's called the Self-Discipline Award. And Robin Lee, the CEO of Baidu, was one of those recipients. And so this is one of the features of Chinese internet censorship and surveillance, that it's actually carried out primarily by private sector companies. And that
they give out awards for cutting tongues out. And when I say cutting tongues out, by keeping the untrue shit from going through, the shit that hits hard, the opinions of the people, that's on that social media over here in China. Yeah, they got people who receive awards for knocking them out. Just knocking each one of them out. If they don't agree with what they had to say or what their opinion is. And we got billion Chinese. We got 1 billion Chinese. So they be doing some serious working to snipe people out. Come on. And they got the same thing here in America. Only thing is, instead of giving out awards, they give out promotions.
The companies that run China's internet services and platforms are acting as an extension of state power.
It may not surprise you that this kind of censorship takes place in authoritarian regimes, but similar kinds of censorship can also occur in Western democracies.
For many, it began with China. That was the most public example. That was the place where the companies had been named and shamed and otherwise publicly taken to task. But very quickly, folks realized that it wasn't just China, that it was countries around the world. And in fact, as we've seen in the Open Net Initiative research, it's dozens of countries where state-sponsored internet censorship is happening.
And demanded that they not permit certain information flows to take place. The idea would be, look, we're just a company. If a government asks us to do something and we're on their turf, we usually have no choice but to go ahead and censor.
ISP.
That's crazy, but very true. Not only are they on board for censoring, but other egregious things that's going on right now in this country. Actually, right now in the city that I live in. But we'll get to that.
ISPs often remove or block content when governments ask, but they also do it without prompting or coercion. There are many examples of how private companies control the flow of information on their platforms, be it for legal, ethical, economic, or other reasons. Shortly after the so-called slut walks against male chauvinism in Brazil, it was reported that Facebook had removed pictures of the protest, including bare-chested women. These images have since been deleted by Facebook for violating the Declaration of Rights and Responsibilities, as outlined by the online service. Flickr as well was caught removing content. In early 2011, Hossam El Hamalawi discovered that Flickr deleted his uploaded photos of police officers from Egypt's state security force. He later learned that this happened because the pictures were taken by someone else, a violation of the site's community rules. Apple is also known for the severe control they exercise over their App Store. At its launch in 2008,
we don't even need to hear about Apple, do we? We already know about Apple, but there we go.
Jobs announced that the platform isn't open to every app for a variety of reasons.
Will there be limitations? Of course. There are going to be some apps that we're not going to distribute.
The ambiguous unforeseen, in particular, gives Apple a free hand to filter as...
Shout-outs, Wake Up America and Resist. Appreciate the donation, brother. Have a happy new year to you and your family. Shout-outs to Wake Up America and Resist, a true loyal resistor.
As they see fit.
Somebody came up with a baby shaking game on the iPhone and offered it up in the store, and then a bunch of people said shaken baby syndrome is a serious problem. Apple, do the right thing, get rid of it. And Apple got rid of it. And I think that can be pretty dangerous, because now you've got highly risk-averse companies, like on the margin. What do they need this kind of pressure for? And they'll get rid of not just shaken baby, but as happened with Apple, they got rid of an app that was simply a countdown to the end of George W. Bush's presidential term. All that's all it was a timer called Freedom Time, to counting down to the end of an era, and instead of era. They didn't allow the app because they don't want to get in the crossfire.
There you go. Number 16, censorship. Shouts to everybody in the chat once again, especially Wake Up America and Resist. Perfect sense. Resisting level is futile. It's the top 20 reasons to why to not trust your government. Top 20. We just did 16, which is censorship. Resisting level is futile. Globe is the biggest reason not to trust the government because it's a complete falsehood. Lie to you about the place we live. They will lie to you about anything. She say that. She say that right there. I'm going to just let her say that. You know, I like to hear more of that, more of y'all opinions on what y'all think is the reason why we shouldn't trust our government. You know, I mean, notice I said opinions. I'm being generous. I'm saying opinions because everybody has a right to one. So let's just keep it at opinions. This is even my opinions right here, ladies and gentlemen. I ask that y'all do the research on your own.
In China, for example, the government actively instructs internet service providers and their content hosts to police their services.
That is crazy. All right, next up would be number 15. Where we at? Here we go. All right. Number 15, ladies and gentlemen, it would be, here you go, staged events. Oh, man, I seen this up close and personal as well. You know, going to the protests in Seattle, back to Boston, all in between, you know, smaller protests within Boston and certain communities. Ever since the George Floyd and the coronavirus pandemic outbreak, you know, Philadelphia, homeless encampment situation, I've seen staged events with my own very eyes, and you know, it was a grassroots thing for me because I was just first time going through it, first time seeing it, and when you see it for yourself, you like, wow. It's just like, wow. So staged events is very, very important to know about because they do happen. We heard about the frozen waters being thrown into the crowd. We heard about the bricks being strategically placed on corners. All types of crazy shit. Well, you got people like this at protests, dressing all black, with black umbrellas and certain kinds of tools, and just walking up to establishments and businesses and just knocking the windows out. And most of these situations have happened at protests in inner cities, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, yes, in inner cities. Nah, this didn't happen in, let me see, Dover, Delaware. There wasn't no situations like this happening in Dover, Delaware. You know, state that your most friendliest, famous president right now is from. This ain't happening in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. This ain't happening in Scarsdale, New York. No, this happening in inner cities. Staged events. The plan is to destroy some things and hope that the people who came out there originally to protest will follow along. And most times that happens. Unfortunately, it happens. Monkey see, monkey do. But then it gets reported in media and in the papers that, oh, the people from the very place where the protest started from, or where the protest started at, tore down their own situation. And there were massive arrests afterwards. And these were the people who were from these communities where these protests happened at. But they never report and say that these were provocateurs who started the situation. And this was an inside clip right here that a lot of people ain't see. I'm pretty sure my resistors seen this video. But a lot of people really ain't see these videos of how there were provocateurs starting bullshit out there. Shout out to everybody in the chat.
Hey, what y'all doing this for? They all look mighty white to me. Only white people doing this fucking shit, man.
Scrubzilla said, what do y'all think about victimless crimes and that old man who stole a toolbox and got executed? What y'all think about that?
Were you at the protest? Yes. As a protester? As a protester? As a cop? Journalist. As a journalist. I saw you just getting out of a police truck. That's not a police truck. That's not a police truck?
10 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. 10 minutes. New Year's. Here on the East Coast. I want to give a shout out to everybody on the West Coast. They got to wait like 3 hours. A little bit less. Everybody in the Midwest. Shout outs to y'all. But here on the East Coast, we got 10 minutes left to New Year's. And appreciate y'all bringing it in with me. Shout out to Joe Mammy.
Who are you with? What Steven. Oh, okay. Myself? Yeah. Yeah. Pretty good.
And Paper Workers Union of Canada found 3 aggressive masked strangers in their midst. Protest leader David Coles told the men they were violent and not welcome. With uniformed police standing nearby, Coles accused these masked men of stirring up trouble in hopes of starting a riot and giving the police an excuse to crack down. He called these men...
I mean, you got to think about it. Like, if you out there redressing your grievances and you got groups breaking glass at the pizza shop and, you know, in a huddle starting fake fights or lighting up fireworks, you know, that get people triggered. That gets people triggered. You got a lot of Second Amendment people that be out there. And, you know, they understand. What is these fireworks being lit for? Seems like some shit's about to go down, and it makes them want to pull their shot. This can cause, you know, mass disruption. Shout outs Breaking the Floor. He says for 2022, we should forgive all cops. Nah, fuck that. I know that's right. All right, let's move on. Number 15 was staged events. We got 8 minutes on the East Coast to 2022. Happy New Year's to all of you.
Agent
Police truck? Nope.
Number 14. Political organizations. The Clinton Foundation. Clinton Foundation received a lot of donations, millions upon millions of donations. Supposed to do shit down in Haiti. You know, quiet as kept. They didn't do a motherfucking thing. Right? It's got a whole lot of shit surrounding this Clinton Foundation that it ain't even funny.
The Clinton Foundation aims to fix the world's big problems, but has caused serious ones for Hillary Clinton on the campaign trail.
The Clintons with the foundation, it's a disgusting situation.
Do I have a problem when a sitting Secretary of State and a foundation run by her husband collects many millions of dollars from foreign governments? Yeah, do I have a problem with that? Yeah.
During her 4 years as Secretary of State, donors poured more than $476 million into the Clinton Foundation.
The temptation for that to become a vehicle for influence peddling is enormous.
Conservative author Peter Schweitzer argues some foundation backers received favorable treatment while she was the nation's top diplomat, but there's no proof.
I don't have an email or a taped conversation where somebody says, if you do this, we will give you that. I would say that is a ridiculous standard.
You kind of need a smoking gun if you're going to accuse someone of illegal activity, no?
I don't accuse them of illegal activity. What I say in the book very clearly is there's a troubling pattern of behavior, and this demands investigation by people that have subpoena power.
The Clinton campaign rejects Schweitzer as a Republican operative, But back in 2009, these issues surfaced before Hillary became Secretary of State.
The Clinton Foundation exists as a temptation for any foreign entity or government that believes it could curry favor through a donation.
That's why President Obama required the foundation to publicly release its funding sources and flag any foreign donations for State Department review. But that didn't happen on at least one occasion.
Were there, one or two instances that slipped through the cracks? Yes, but was the overwhelming amount of anything that anybody gave the foundation disclosed? Absolutely.
She is a motherfucker. I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. Hillary Clinton is a motherfucker.
Failed to disclose a $500,000 donation from Algeria for Haitian earthquake relief, and millions from a Canadian partnership. Other mistakes include not reporting as much as $26 million from foreign governments and corporations for speeches the Clintons gave, and it had to refile several years of tax returns after combining government grants with other donations. The foundation acknowledged and fixed all of the mistakes and enjoys a top rating from charity watchdogs GuideStar and Charity Watch. After Hillary announced a bid for the White House, the foundation took additional measures to allay concerns about transparency. The foundation restricted the number of countries it would take donations from to only 6, and it started disclosing donors quarterly. But even some supporters say that's not enough.
I think it would be important for her to make clear right now that if she's president, that the foundation will not take money from any foreign interests and will not take money from anybody, whether it's an individual or a company that does business with the United States government or plans to do business with the United States government.
Does that make them viable to operate as a foundation anymore?
The answer is it might not make the foundation viable, but if you want to be president of the United States, there are just certain things that your family cannot do. That's the price of seeking the presidency.
Christina Alessi, CNN, New York.
Number 14, ladies and gentlemen. That was number 14, political organizations. The Clinton Foundation. Do your research. It's a lot of shit. A lot of scandals within that foundation. Okay, we could be about 2 hours talking about that shit. Number 14 is a skim through. Real fast. And if anything, if Hillary's involved in anything, then you know we're fucked. Trust me. She got her hands in a lot of bullshit. A lot of bullshit. We got 3 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. 3 minutes to New Year's 2022. It's me and you. And I'm giving y'all the 20 top reasons not to trust your government. We just did number 14, political organizations. Okay? In fact, I'm going to start all the way from the beginning. Number 20 was repeated violation of the First Amendment. Shows you an example on that. Number 19 was increasing restrictions towards the Second Amendment. Number 18, the 10th Amendment is slowly escaping the people's reach. Number 17, the government is supposed to be separated from church. Number 16, censorship, ladies and gentlemen. Number 15, staged events. Number 14, political organizations. And you know what? I'm just going to hang out for a minute. I'm going to bring this new year. in with all my resistors, man. I appreciate y'all hanging with me and enjoying this little program I put together. I spent about 3 days putting it together, and just to be honest, you can see it really ain't come from me. You can do the research yourself. I'm just putting it in front of your face. These are real life events that happen. And I'm just trying to keep y'all from not forgetting. That's what this is about. These are not my opinions, ladies and gentlemen. These are my opinions. But you can cross-check this yourself. I'm bringing this up on the same platform that we are on. Bringing this up from the same platform that we are on. This is shit that happened. And these are the reasons why you shouldn't trust your government. All right, I want to give a special shout out to everybody. Got maybe a minute left to New Year's Eve. I'm going to bring that in with y'all. Hit the lights! Everybody about to get killed out here. Like it for everybody. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I'll make sure y'all like it for everybody. And it's about that time, so. Once again, I want to say to y'all, Happy New Year's, everybody. First and foremost, that's joining with me here on the East Coast. Happy New Year's to y'all. Happy New Year's to everybody on the West Coast as well. I know I got a lot of loyal subscribers and loyal followers from the West Coast. I appreciate y'all. Happy New Year's to y'all. 2022. Yeah. Read some of these comments. Happy New Year. Gladys Bradshaw. Dwayne Butler. Happy New Year. Perfect Sense. Happy New Year. Resisting level is futile. Happy New Year. Wake up America and resist. Happy New Year. Ronnie Wall. Scrubzilla. Happy New Year. Queen. Netta Williams. All the way from Wynn, Arkansas. Happy New Year. Yeah. Breaking the floor, Happy New Year. Celtic Bride, Happy New Year. Appreciate y'all. Loke Resistor, Wayne of UK. Come on, man. Even though you across the pond, Happy New Year. Yeah. Joe Mammy, Happy New Year. And everybody else that's up in there. Shardrick Side, Happy New Year. The Resistance South. Got the Resistance South up in this joint. Happy New Year. John Brown's Goose. Yeah. Happy New Year. Glenn McDonald, Happy New Year. Yeah. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Hey. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. All right, let's get back to this top 20 reasons not to trust the government. Here we go. Number 13 is unequal application of the motherfucking law. Y'all know how that go. Rules for thee, but not for me. And when I say me, I'm talking about the elite. Them motherfuckers, not us, not me. Yeah. Y'all know how that shit go.
Okay, so let me be clear here. The Austin mayor didn't tell people to stay home and then go on vacation. He told people to stay home while he was on vacation, chilling in Mexico. And he is not the only one here. Only politician who says to all of us, do one thing, then get caught doing another.
Growing outrage this morning over one Texas politician's decision to defy his own advice to stay home. As COVID-19 cases rise across the country, Austin Mayor Steve Adler has urged residents not to travel.
And we need to, stay home if you can. Do everything you can to try to keep the numbers down. This is not the time to relax.
Turns out he sent that message, not from home, but while vacationing with his family in Cabo.
Doing what the fuck he want, as well as pushing an agenda. He's encouraging the locals. Stay the fuck home. Do not go outside. Do not venture into your streets and breathe the sweet, fresh air that the good Lord has gave you to breathe in. Don't do that. Stay in your house. Keep that shit constricted amongst yourselves. Suck that shit in and out, and on top of it, throw a fucking mask on. So it could be more soil close to your fucking nose and shit. But do not go outside. Do not venture out on no outdoor shit. Stay in the house. While I'm on fucking vacation, giving this public service announcement. Doing what the fuck he want. Killing two birds with one stone. They love him.
San Lucas.
Maybe get a small turkey this year and celebrate with just those you live with. Maybe next year we can all be together again. I know this is hard. I know you hate this. I hate this.
And this morning, Denver Mayor Michael Hancock is waking up in a different state with his family after, like you just heard, repeatedly telling all the people in the city to stay home this holiday.
So on Friday, Mayor Hancock practically begged people of Denver to stay home. Yesterday morning, he tweeted out another reminder. The same morning, he got on a plane to Mississippi to see his wife and daughter.
To be clear, the French Laundry does appear to have been following state guidance for restaurants in Napa County at the time, but the governor has been preaching something different in public. He's been asking Californians not to...
Got some gunshots, some fireworks outside my motherfucking house. Celebration of the new year. So I figure I'll just pause it real quick rather than let that interrupt what we got going on. Happy New Year, everybody in the chat. I appreciate y'all. All right.
gather with people from more than 3 households at a time.
Well, I want to apologize to you because I need to preach and practice.
Yet another politician is facing backlash for attending a birthday party at the upscale French Laundry restaurant in Napa County. Our news partners at the San Francisco Chronicle report San Francisco Mayor London Breed joined 7 others for a birthday party on November 7th. It's one day after Governor Newsom also attended a party at that same restaurant.
LA County Supervisor Sheila Kuehl is raising eyebrows after it came to light that she went out to a restaurant shortly after voting to support a shutdown of in-person dining.
Rewind the clock last Tuesday, she voted to ban outdoor dining here in LA County for all 31,000 of our restaurants. And at the time, her reason for voting that way is she said outdoor dining was just too dangerous. She said people take their masks off. She said people don't social distance. And she said it is, quote, a most dangerous situation for the servers. So what we confirm is that just hours after she made those statements last Tuesday and hours after she made that vote, she came right behind us to where we're standing right now and dined outdoors at Il Forno here in Santa Monica.
There are reports that as many as 6 California legislators, along with lawmakers from some other states, as well as a large group of lobbyists, flew off to Maui, Hawaii for an annual conference and fundraiser for the nonprofit Independent Voter Project. This is being done at a time when everyone else is being directed to hunker down and avoid mixing, even with extended families.
What does that tell you? What does that tell you? That tell you that whatever's going on, whatever they trying to portray that's going on, it's not going on to the magnitude that they trying to get across to us that it is. Correct. Because if they doing it, why can't we do it? Well, we'll get to that later on why they trying to control. And I'm just going to say that word. Another example is me, a video that I have of a police officer who is out in the public issuing tickets to so-called illegal parking while he's parked on a pavement or a sidewalk himself, ladies and gentlemen. Number 13, again, unequal application of the law.
Hey, what's up?
It's the documentation and exposure. Before you give him a ticket, you should give yourself a ticket for parking on a pavement. You want to give him a ticket before you give yourself a ticket? Wow. Yeah, he should give himself a ticket, right? You see him parked on the pavement like that? Please, I wish you would. I wish you would, because you just enforced the law on this guy right here, but you're not following those same laws that you enforce. Now look how condescending he's acting. This your local police officer in any one of y'all's neighborhood. Just so happen he's in Boston. And he want to be condescending and say, watch me give myself a ticket. He parked right there on the corner of the pavement.
How does that sound?
I'm going to give myself a ticket right now. He's parked right there. Straight on the pavement. And he's issuing tickets for people who are parked in a no parking zone. Are you serious? That's fucking crazy. Where's the example? You're supposed to be upholding LEOs within their official capacity. And they sloppy like this. This is some raggedy shit. I'm sorry.
How does that sound, sir? How can you enforce the same laws that you're breaking? Isn't that kind of, weird for you to do that?
No.
Well, could you explain to me how it's legal for you to park here? Maybe you could give me an explanation on how it's legal to park here. Yeah, that's not valid, sir. Maybe you can give me an explanation on how it's legal to park here and we won't even have this conversation. I'm pretty sure you can't do that either, can you? Right. But this is being exposed. It's documented. May I get your name and badge, sir? It is your policies and procedures of who you work for to get your name and badge when you're engaged by the public, right? That is part of your policies and procedures, right? In Chapter 41, Section 98D.
Shouts to Queen, all the way from Wynn, Arkansas, Renetta Williams. And she hit it right there. She hit it right there. Good for thee, but not me. It only applies to them. Unequal application of the law, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just throwing it in your face. Okay? Because we tend, as people, we tend to forget. We're so used to just going along with the norm. Okay, we just say fuck it and forget it. But I'm just here to bring it back to you, just a little quick reminder, okay? And consider this an accelerated course, all right? This is not a usual resistance special. This is a New Year's special. It started as a New Year's Eve special, now it's a New Year's special. Okay? And consider this an accelerated course because this is a lot in one. Unequal application of the law, number 13, ladies and gentlemen. 20 reasons not to trust your motherfucking government. I'm telling you, this shit is real and it's very simple. Very simple. Number 12. Number 12. Shit's about to start getting a little controversial now. People going to start twitching their fingers on the keyboard or on the phone a little bit more as we go further down the line, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, and I love that it's small. I ain't got to deal with a whole bunch of people. I can read the chat. I appreciate y'all. Number 12. Fake news. Goddamn. Fake news can be dangerous. It can really be dangerous because what's the point of fake news? To have you thinking the way the fuck they want you to think. And why do they want you to think a certain way? So you can remain asleep and they can keep doing the dumb shit that they doing.
Gangbusters are great Gangbusters are great right? Which is why we constantly have the death toll on the side. Let's make it higher. Like, why isn't it high enough today? Like, it would make our point better if it was higher. Fear. Like, fear really fear is an application too. If it bleeds, it leads. Yeah.
If it bleeds, it leads.
Yeah. No one ever says those things out loud, but it's obvious. They're actually...
CNN director admitting on camera. He ain't know the camera was on him, but it was on his ass. On camera that they spiked up numbers because they could. They spiked up the numbers of corona, of people who caught corona, what the numbers were in the country. And they spiked them up like a motherfucker. And they got this. Can you trust these motherfuckers after they do some shit like this? Come on, man. And we all know that media is connected to the government.
Every day, Because I'd even look at it and be like, let's make it higher. Like, why isn't it high enough? Today, like, it would make our point better if it was higher. And I'm like, what am I rallying for? That's a problem. We're doing that, like.
Well, I mean, it helps with ratings.
Of course, yeah, but I wouldn't say it's good. I have a job, for sure. Like, I'm happy about that, but I don't know.
Who gets to decide how long that stays on, or like?
And then this was the fakest of them all, okay? The whole world's a stage. They've made it where as though they can make the whole world the stage. And ladies and gentlemen, we're sitting in front of the motherfucking curtains. Okay? This is the game that they're playing. And they've successfully been able to do it. We've done it a few times. We just don't know it. But this one, it was real. But at the same time that it was real, it was all staged.
What came down? What came down? We crashed. The other train center's down. It's down. It's down.
Believe what you may, ladies and gentlemen. Believe what you may. But if you think your government ain't had nothing to do with this shit, then I'm going to tell you, remain asleep.
We're back at 8:30 on this Tuesday morning. It's the 11th day of September, the year 2001. It is such a pretty morning, isn't it?
Perfect fall morning. Although it's not fall yet.
A lot of motherfuckers don't remember when Al Roker was fat. That's when Al Roker was fat, rotund like a motherfucker. I mean, we could get into how the building exploded.
Some very, very sketchy details reaching us here at Sky Central.
How it was smoking.
At this early stage, we believe that a plane has crashed into the World Trade Center.
But all I'm going to say is, if you don't think this government had anything to do with this shit,
In New York.
Right now we're getting information, Al, that it was a small commuter plane, and of course we'll let people know as soon as we have more information as to what actually caused this, and of course on everybody's mind who might have been hurt.
Just so happened this motherfucker was on TV. Well, the COVID, I don't give a fuck if you the president or not. Yeah, we know the president does, public, press meetings and stuff. But here's the thing. The most serious time that this nation is going through, and he's already on TV, and he receives the news. Just conveniently receives the news.
What we've just seen is just about the most shocking videotape I've ever seen.
What are the odds of two separate planes?
It is completely impossible to understand why this is happening and to figure out what in the world is going on.
Shout out, Stop Resisting Justice. Says, hey, everybody, not New Year's yet where she at, but drinking like it is. Shout out to Stop Resisting Justice. Do your thing.
We heard a big bang, and then we saw smoke coming out, and everybody started running out, and we saw the plane on the other side of the building, and there was smoke everywhere. People are jumping out the windows. Over there, they're jumping out the windows, I guess, because they're trying to...
And yes, ladies and gentlemen, I do believe that there were crisis actors even back then. Yeah, to pull it off, you had to bring all the riggers and jiggers with you to pull off the world stage to the people. You had to bring everything with you, no stops.
The signal themselves, I don't know.
Blew up, big explosion. People started running. It was just chaos everywhere. People jumping out. People just kept jumping and jumping and jumping.
Thank you all.
And now you have to move from talk about a possible accident to talk about something deliberate.
Let's go to President Bush right now.
2 airplanes have crashed into the World Trade Center in an apparent terrorist attack on our country. I have spoken to the Vice President, to the Governor of New York, to the Director of the FBI, and have ordered that the full resources of the federal government go to help the victims and their families, and to conduct a full-scale investigation to hunt down and to find those folks who committed this act.
Fake news, ladies and gentlemen. I got all types of shit flying over my roof. It sounds like it's fucking Beirut over this motherfucker. I'm not even going to look out my window. That would be drawing attention. I'm going to continue with this fucking live stream. Number 12, fake news, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, shit is popping off. Fake news. Next up, we have. Woo! This one was so hot that I just put this together a few hours. Wow. I just put this together a few hours ago, and look what happened. This is number 11. They already didn't put out the notification, ladies and gentlemen. See, this is a reason why you shouldn't trust your government, okay? So they talked all that shit that, this is a private sphere, and they just allow public shit to go down. But when it comes to the agenda that they pushing, they put that out there all day. That's in the public sphere. But because it goes their way is why they put it out there. But when it comes time for me, just a little old person, trying to get some information out to the people, this is what they do. This was number 11. And as you can see, it says video unavailable.
Well, first of all, I think that the war in Iraq that began in 2003 is a continuation of the war that began really on August 2nd, 1990, when Iraq invaded. President Bush, at that time, said that the presence of Iraqi forces in Kuwait posed a threat to Saudi Arabia and the flow of oil in the Persian Gulf, and this was a strategic threat to America's vital interests.
The war in Iraq was a continuation of George Bush Sr. having his shit in Kuwait. Desert Storm. His son finally got in years later, and it was a grand old time to continue the bullshit. Pick right up where they left off. Let's fuck with those motherfuckers over there in Desert Storm.
In accordance with the Carter Doctrine of 1980, which says that anytime a hostile power threatens the flow of oil from the Persian Gulf, that's a threat to America's vital interests. We'll respond with military force if need be. And when Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait, that's exactly what he said, and said we're going to respond. Now, at the conclusion of that first Persian Gulf War, President Bush, the older, said, well, we're not going to invade Iraq, we're going to bring down Saddam Hussein through economic warfare.
And so on and so forth. And like the man said, it was all about robbing the land of the oil. Couple other shits, but mainly the oil. Let's believe that. All right. Number 11, we just went over. The war in Iraq. 11th reason not to trust your government. Stealing, thieving, motherfuckers. Next, we got number 10, ladies and gentlemen. Number 10. Surveillance organizations. NSA, FISA.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Director Brennan, first of all, congratulations. I appreciated the chance to talk about a number of issues with you previously, and I'm going to be asking you some additional questions about drones and targeted killings in the days ahead. But for today, my congratulations. Director Clapper, I want to ask you about what I asked you about a year ago, and that was the matter of surveillance and particularly what the rules are that
Shout outs to Dreaming Resistance. She definitely hit something on the head, but certain things I just won't talk about. Because I don't mention it doesn't mean that it's not true. I just try to do the surface because I'm a hair away from being lost of the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, best believe. And it's not because it's being forced upon me. It's because I choose to speak freely. I choose to speak freely. There's no filter on this tongue. I've told you many times before that I talk about the shit that can get you killed. And it's true. But I choose to not have a filter and I choose to speak freely. So this is why I go on and receive the punishment that I receive. But I just keep on pushing, ladies and gentlemen. But shout out to Dreaming Resistance for making that comment. Thank you. It's very correct. And that's all I'm going to say.
the intelligence agency would have to follow in order to electronically track the movements and locations of an American inside the United States. And I asked you about this a year ago, and you said that your lawyers were studying this, and I hope that since a year has passed, we can get
some motherfucking answers
to these questions. So first, let me ask the question: if an intelligence agency wants to electronically track the movements and whereabouts of an American inside the United States, how much evidence do they need?
Well, first of all, let me just say, sir, that particularly in the case of NSA and CIA, there are strictures against tracking.
This bald head sweating motherfucker. He can't even speak a complete sentence without saying to the You can tell he lying.
American citizens in the United States for foreign intelligence purposes, and that's what those agencies are set up to do. I think, though, when I might ask Director Mueller to speak to this, because what you're referring to is, I think, devolves into the law enforcement criminal area. So,
let me, and I do want to hear from Director Mueller, but I'm trying to get some general principles out with respect to intelligence.
He keep dancing around the question. Instead of being straight up answering the question, he's dancing around the bullshit.
You've cited certainly some areas that are relevant, but what I'm really trying to do is get an unclassified answer to a question about what the law authorizes.
the law is, of course, as you know, is embedded in the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, which was recently, the amendment, and to which was recently extended for 5 years. And that places very strict strictures on the intelligence community's tracking of U.S. persons where there is a terrorism nexus. And that is overseen very strictly by both the FISA court, as well as within the executive branch, both by my office and the Attorney General. So there are very strict rules about that, as you know, as we've discussed.
Edward Snowden, as we know, Edward Snowden, he dropped a lot of gems. And they want to kill him. They want to kill Edward Snowden.
They don't make vaccines. The only thing they sell is the virus.
And I think saying that they only sell this to government doesn't make that better when we look at who the targets are for just the people.
There's been a number of surveillance leaks and disclosures over the years. No doubt the most significant was yours. How do you think this one compares?
This is certainly one of the most important. And these are major newspapers, major institutions that we rely on. This is peeling back a curtain that we have never seen done with this level of granularity.
In the past,
and he's speaking, he said, we've never seen this level of surveillance done to our own people by the government, ever. What is this about? I should have put in the countdown. One of the reasons is that the government don't trust us. Because that's what I think. Is all the cameras is turned towards us. They want to know what we talking about on the phone. Listen, I could talk about something on the phone, and then if I go to YouTube or if I go to Google, an ad will pop up of what I was talking about maybe 40 minutes earlier. Like, seriously. Whether it was chicken and waffles or a pair of Reebok sneakers. It's kind of like, a crazy coincidence that it'll pop up in an ad. What you gonna do? We are stuck on their devices. It's not our shit. If they listening to us, that's their shit. If they can monitor everything that we doing, it's their shit. And they just shined it all up and, put colors on it and put it in bright lights and big letters and say, hey, this is for you. Come fuck with this. You can play with it. You can talk to your friends. You can do all the kinky, freaky type shit you want to do. But what they don't tell you is that they got all that shit. They got all that shit.
You've called smartphones a spy in your pocket. Do you think this confirms that?
I think it's actually worse. When I said they're a spy in your pocket, it's the potential, it's the capability, it's the fact that, these things are talking to the mobile phone network and tracking your locations. You've got, Facebook spying on you. But these are largely commercial programs for commercial purposes. What we see now are people creating an industry to find those phones and go beyond the level of spying that already previously we knew existed.
Number 10, ladies and gentlemen, surveillance organizations, the NSA, FISA. Listen, they got a couple others too. They got a couple other of them. They got a lot of them. I say all of them will be listening in on this, at one time or another. If you ask me, I'm a paranoid motherfucker, but hey, don't listen to me. Do your own research. I'm just bringing it back up in your face. That's all. Number 9, ladies and gentlemen. Number 9. This is a good reason to not trust your motherfucking government. When they don't give a fuck about you, you should not give a fuck about them. That was crazy. The government's late response to Hurricane Katrina, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all remember that, right? But once again, we seem to forget.
Early Sunday morning, Katrina had built into a dangerous Category 5 hurricane barreling towards New Orleans.
On August 29th, Hurricane Katrina slammed into the Gulf Coast.
All this technology they got to detect when all types of crazy shit coming, but they couldn't get to this one in time, ladies and gentlemen. They couldn't get, and there's so many. That's why I didn't want to put too many. I didn't want to put any conspiracy theories in this, even though some of these you can make out to be conspiracy theories. I will admit, but I try to keep it as real as possible, as though you can, not have to not prove. But you could just say, damn, that's a reason that you shouldn't trust the government. Just that right there, off the bat. I didn't want to put no conspiracy theories in there. That was one of the reasons why. But this shit right here, this shit was a total fucking mess.
Being corrupt and unable to be trusted with large sums of money. And when I heard that public accusation, I made a decision that this was going to be the most honest program that the federal government had ever witnessed.
To take on the huge task of distributing all the grant money to homeowners, Blanco's administration hired ICF International, a private contractor based in Virginia. But soon, things began to go wrong.
You call to recovery, they give you number to call and call and call and call. Nothing.
When the Road Home program started, frankly, it was a huge mess.
Walter Thomas says he found every document, filed every form the Road Home asked for to help him rebuild. 6 months later, he finally got a call back.
News media just told a story after story of the Road Home program. Overall, just not.
Quiet as kept. People still haven't recovered from it. There's still people who haven't recovered from that. It's real bad. People went through a whole lot after that. A lot of people went through years and years of homelessness, drug abuse, you name it. People didn't get helped out in this situation, man. It was a sad, sad situation.
Allowing recovery to happen.
Applicants found themselves swimming in red tape. The anti-fraud measures required fingerprints and lots of documents, which seemed unfair to those who had lost everything. ICF had no experience managing a program the size of the Road Home. Many applicants reported having to wait months for their appointments because the company was understaffed, and errors ICF made in calculating grants caused even more delays.
I never dreamed it would take as long as it did.
Their name was synonymous with mismanagement, really cruel treatment of applicants, disdain, incompetence.
ICF said it was doing everything it could, as it built a huge infrastructure from scratch. But critics also faulted Blanco's administration for not initially setting a timetable by which the company had to deliver a certain number of grants.
Hurricane Katrina victims storming the Louisiana state capitol saying, "Show us the money."
As frustration mounted, the Louisiana legislature voted to fire ICF. Blanco refused, and late...
A lot of organizations involved to contribute to the corruption of this Hurricane Katrina shit. A lot of them. Number 9, the government's late response to Hurricane Katrina. We tried to go through this a little quickly without showing the things that we've seen for years on now. People dead in the street, the devastation that the hurricane caused. I tried to run through this quick. So shout out to everybody in the chat. Thanks for working with me. All right, moving along to number 8. 1 second. Number 8, ladies and gentlemen. Conspiracy against hip hop. I want to pull something up real quick. So give me a second. If you hold on for 1 second, I'm going to pull something up. Pretty sure I have it here, and I do. Okay. Conspiracy against hip hop.
Music is frequency programming. Music is frequency. What frequency are you being fed? If I play with those frequencies, right, I can target certain parts of the mind, target the frequency to go to certain parts of the mind, and I can literally, if I want you to astral project, or if I want you to go to sleep, or if I want you to go into a meditative state, I can make my music do that.
Without name dropping, most of y'all know this late famous artist. Most of y'all don't, but there's no need to name drop. But he was explaining how he can use certain frequencies within his music, basically to put you in a trance. And people probably don't think that this is real, but there's been years and years and years of experiments. It's been years and years of experiments on music and how music affects the human body, even more the human mind. So they've understood that the drum can have the human body, go into a trance. Bass is very attractive to the human mind. All types of frequencies within that. Okay, so they know that music can have you stuck, right? And along with drugs that they push into the country, which we'll get into later on, and alcohol, all that combination, that causes you, and most people, to do things that'll get them sucked into the government's, should I say, web, right? We get a product of mass incarceration, or a product of sex trafficking, all types of shit. Basically, you're just revenue to them, right? Your social security number is your account number. Best believe that. They just trying to see how much money they can make off you as long as you're on this fucking earth. But I digress. Conspiracy against hip hop is number 8. And conspiracy against hip hop was how the music shifted within a period of 89 to 1992. Okay? Well, to those who don't know, hip hop wasn't all about sex, money, and drugs. There was a very, very happy side, a very conscious side to hip hop. You understand what I'm saying? You had groups like Public Enemy, De La Soul, X-Clan, Poor Righteous Teachers, okay? That was speaking truth and trying to spread a message. And then all of a sudden, within like an 18-month time period, the shit just changed into murder, sex, money, and drugs. And this is also around the time where there was a lot of drugs being filtered through the country in mass amounts, directed to a certain demographic. Conspiracy against hip hop, ladies and gentlemen. It was more than just getting people involved to listening to much more negative things. It contributed to mass incarceration. It contributed to deaths, eradication of certain demographic, okay? It more blood money, again, being funneled to America by the lower people of the country. Because that's how they look at us. They look at us low, as we're the low people. Remember, if it wasn't for us, this country wouldn't be shit.
The brain processes information electrically. It communicates with a cellular structure electrically, and it operates within a certain band of frequency. If you can broadcast frequencies carrying information, this technology has long been known, carrying information and perceptions within the frequency that the brain decodes information, the brain will decode those frequencies and will have those perceptions. You can externally influence people's perceptions externally by broadcasting these frequencies that we interact with, because we are antenna.
They found out it's all in the frequencies. They've been knew it. We just didn't know it. And with a shot of your favorite shit to go along with it, can have you doing some fucked up things. I mean, just help them out one way or the other. Number 8, the conspiracy against hip-hop, ladies and gentlemen. I had something pulled up on there. And, you know, it's a long list. This is my first time doing a presentation like this with y'all, and it disappeared. It was a letter I was going to read to y'all. Hopefully, I can deal with that one day in a single live stream. So, shouts to everybody in the chat. I appreciate y'all rocking out with me. We just did number 8, ladies and gentlemen, of the 20 reasons to not trust the government. And that was number 8, the conspiracy against hip-hop. Let's move along. Number 7, population control. Population control. Who believes there's population control? Let's see.
If we could provide.
The latest video in a sustained effort to undermine support for Planned Parenthood reprises the dramatic effects that have helped the Center for Medical Progress stoke the growing controversy. Edited undercover video.
Planned Parenthood. We've been told long ago that they were contributing to lowering the population. They felt as though it wasn't no need to have so many motherfuckers on the earth. And they realized that more motherfuckers on the earth is going to take away from them. So they came up with this idea, let's abort mass babies.
The Planned Parenthood research director in Texas talking about extracting intact fetus cadavers and body parts from abortions for use in fetal tissue research.
So that anything that we integrate into that procedure without having you cover the procedural cost is going to be higher. Right. So anything about higher gestational age, there's more opportunity for complication.
Interspersed with talk about budgets and money.
If we alter our process and we are able to obtain intact fetal cadavers, then we can make it part of the budget that any dissection.
Evil motherfuckers talking about snatching fetuses to do whatever they want to do with them. I mean, it's talk about they putting it in the food, they putting it in medicine. And I choose not to go that deep because that could lead to a certain place that a lot of us might not want to go to. Okay, I just try to keep it level, try to keep it a little basic, throw my little oomph in there, you know what I'm saying? But, yeah, it's evil to me. What are you doing with that shit? And why is all these places mostly centered in the urban community? People of color. They're always targeting people of color for their organs, all types of shit. So it's an obsession to get people of color organs, hearts and lungs and shit. Crazy motherfuckers.
Just because it was developed in a lab doesn't mean it's good for you. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 5 terrifying big pharma facts. Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Let's get one thing straight. We live in an age of medical marvels, and pharmaceutical research has undoubtedly saved and changed the lives of countless individuals. But wherever there's money involved, the top priority is usually profit margins and making sales. So we're peeling off the label and reading the fine print as we explore the darker side of big pharma. Number 5, pharmaceutical trials don't necessarily test the important stuff. There's a problematic question one needs to ask when administering, receiving, or considering any sort of medical treatment. Does this approach address the root cause of the problem, or just the symptoms that stem from it? According to a 2015 Johns Hopkins University study, various drugs used to treat diabetes have been proven to lower blood sugar quite effectively, but are often brought to market on those grounds alone. Such trials, approved by the FDA, fail to consider whether a drug that reduces high blood sugar, a symptom of diabetes, will necessarily reduce the long-term effects associated with the disease, such as strokes. To borrow the words of Dr. Mark Hyman, quote, "It's like taking the batteries out of a smoke detector instead of trying to find the fire." Treating surrogate symptoms can prove a deadly approach to medicine. Number 4, many results in roughly half of all clinical trial findings going unpublished.
Pro-life lawmakers are calling on both the Department of Justice and the Small Business Administration to investigate Planned Parenthood affiliates that reportedly applied for and received $80 million in coronavirus relief funds. Calls for an investigation follow reports more than 30 Planned Parenthood affiliates across the country improperly received loans from the Paycheck Protection Program, which were intended for small businesses during the COVID-19 pandemic. These funds are intended for employers with fewer than 500 employees. Planned Parenthood has more than 600 employees. So pro-life lawmakers claim the abortion business is ineligible for this emergency money. In a letter to Attorney General,
Population control.
There's a lot of false information around about the 2 leading COVID-19 vaccines in the U.S. We wanted to provide the facts and answer some questions. I'm not a doctor, but know a few. We asked, is the vaccine being introduced in Africa as a means of population control?
The vaccine is not being introduced in Africa, especially not to control the population.
There is a history of using various experiments and trials in communities of color, which include, unfortunately, times in which sterilization and, what some have deemed efforts of
Shout out to Renetta Williams, Queen Renetta Williams, all the way from Wynn, Arkansas. She's back. She says these son of a bitches are trying to get rid of a bunch of us. I know that's right. Number 7, ladies and gentlemen, that's population control. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Patrick Bellarmine, what's going on? Patrick Bellarmine in the house. Biocompatible near-infrared quantum dots delivered to the skin by microneedle patches record vaccination. All right, thanks for that one, Patrick Bellarmine. Number 7, ladies and gentlemen, is population control. What's next?
Miralax works naturally with the water in your body.
Number 6, VA hospitals. Oh man, these joints is fucked up. The way they treat motherfuckers. The government's hospital, you think the top motherfucking hospitals that come straight from the government will take care of their people. They just fuck people over.
Now we turn to the growing national outrage about what has happened to American veterans inside VA hospitals. The government ordered a review of every hospital after reports that patients were dying while waiting and waiting and waiting for care. And today Congress demanded documents. ABC senior national correspondent Jim Avila.
Shout out to Mike Taylor.
The epicenter of the scandal. Phoenix, Arizona, where as many as 40 veterans died at this VA hospital while waiting up to 21 months to see a doctor.
They never came in the door. We never saw them.
The very motherfuckers that you say, thank you for your service, are being treated like this. Just waiting to die in the goddamn VA hospital. You got people in the VA hospital right now just waiting to die. They got them lined up in the hallway, just waiting to die.
Dr. Sam Foote retired from that Veterans Administration hospital in Phoenix this year, but not before exposing what he says is systematic fraud that hid the long waits. Dr. Foote claims his superiors lied about the delays to qualify for bonuses.
And we realized that patients were dying because of it. And that's the point where we said, we can't take this anymore.
Phoenix veteran and Purple Heart winner Ralph DeCastro died after waiting months for a specialist visit to diagnose the lump found in his neck after a routine checkup. He kept this journal, documenting the calls he made for 15 months, trying to schedule a VA visit that never came.
I am a Purple Heart Vietnam vet and should be receiving proper treatment. Still making calls again to the Phoenix VA.
And it's not just Phoenix. The Office of Veterans Affairs is investigating 23 other deaths at 13 VA hospitals nationwide.
Motherfuckers just getting knocked off in the VA hospitals, one by one, consistently.
Tonight, Fox 13 investigates troubling claims from local veterans. They say they are still, after all these years, facing excessive wait times for benefits and health care.
And federal records show many may have died waiting. And a former VA insider from Tampa Bay now speaking out. And our chief investigator, Craig Patrick, has the confessions of a VA scheduler.
Our veterans served and sacrificed to uphold our values and defend our nation. But then when they needed help, our nation left many of them to suffer and die.
Why do they do this?
Records show 307,000 veterans may have died waiting for access to VA health care.
They just let you down.
And by waiting for access, we mean they could not even get enrolled in the system.
Total betrayal from our government.
And vets who do get enrolled say the wait times to see their doctors are ridiculous.
They gave me an appointment like 6 months down the road, but before that 6 months got there, they would call me and say, well, we've had to cancel because of something, whatever.
And when you listen to veterans like Keith Brown describe the runaround,
about a year before you get the actual appointment.
And then you compare it to what the head of the VA has claimed.
Our average wait times are 4 days for primary care, 5 days for specialty care, 3 days for mental health care.
Something does not add up.
Oh no, we don't never do that.
Now, that's not a reason to not trust your government. I don't know what is. Because that's some messed up shit. The same people that serve for this country being treated like that, that's fucked up. Shout out RW Arts. Welcome, RW Arts. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was number 6, VA hospitals. What we got next? Number 5. Number 5 would be a misleading government, ladies and gentlemen. A misleading government. Y'all always talking some bullshit to you. They tell you this, then they don't talk about it no more. The shit that they were talking about and they was going to help out on, they don't ever help out on it. They always mislead the people. That's why I said number 5, a misleading government.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky.
People have got to know whether or not their presidents are crook. Well, I'm not a crook.
That means allowing Americans who like their doctor and like their health care plan to keep their plan.
What do these statements have in common? Well, they were all made by American presidents, and they have all, rather famously, been called lies. But the similarities really end there. Now, you can call all three statements untrue, but lying requires an intent to deceive, which means you have to know what the person who said it was actually thinking. And that's where things can get a bit tricky. Take, for example, I'm not a crook. Bill Clinton knew what he had done, and any ordinary person would consider that sexual relations. He knew what he was saying was false, and that's a lie. American politicians, of course, are hardly unique. When Brexiteers campaigned in a big red bus, the first half of that famous slogan on the side was not quite a lie, but not quite true. We send £350 million to the EU each week. Well, that was true, but the UK got back millions of pounds each week too. That was intended to mislead, and it did. Public figures, of course, have always said things that weren't true. Take Donald Trump. He says so many things that are so quickly and easily proved untrue, it looks almost like he doesn't even care about the truth. Take, for example, when he said that Barack and Michelle Obama have a 10-foot wall around their house in Washington. They don't. Many people said this was yet another lie by Donald Trump. But it's possible that this misses the point, that statements like this from Trump, as distinct from a liar, a bullshitter doesn't even care about the truth. It's beside the point. And if we throw around the word lie when we don't know the speaker's state of mind for sure, then we're weakening the word lie. And it's me.
He could go into explanation on if it's a lie or not, but the main point is that it's misleading. All these motherfuckers been misleading us. We all been expecting this and ain't got none of it. And that's the damn truth. Number 5, a misleading government. Number 4, this is a good one. The Supreme Court, qualified immunity. How they protect these police officers.
Good morning, everybody, and happy Tuesday. We have an incredible lineup today. Robbie, who do we have?
Andrew Yang is going to be with us to discuss the Forward Party more in depth. Plus, Stephen Donziger is back with us. A judge has ordered him to a violent New York...
Right. Personally. Right. Can you come after the city itself? Or
yes. But in some... But very, very high bar of misconduct on the part of the officer for you to even be able to proceed at all. Mm-hmm. So now they could be unfounded, and in these the cases the Supreme Court didn't want to look at, it could absolutely be the case that the police officer did nothing wrong and would have been acquitted by a jury. Right. But you can't even make your case to a jury because the qualified immunity bar is so high, and that's the problem we're dealing with.
Because this is a government worker. As long as they're working on behalf of the public, you can't come after them,
right?
Personally,
right?
Can you come after the city itself? Or
yes. But in some, but that's those are hard cases to make. It's just and also the issue is that maybe police know they have this in their back pocket. Right. Perhaps some of the cases of misconduct that we've seen, of genuine police misconduct, might not have occurred if police knew they had to be a little bit more careful. Now, obviously, safety matters, and being a police officer is tough. It's a tough job, etc. We don't want them wrongly accused or railroaded or anything like this. But this is a protection that no one else has.
Right.
If you're just sued as a person, if you've wronged someone, you don't have qualified immunity to stop you from raising a lawsuit. The police are better trained to handle violent and unstable situations. So there should probably be a higher bar for their conduct. There's actually a lower bar because they're so shielded from liability.
And the issue of qualified immunity is what derailed the bipartisan policing reform negotiations between Cory Booker and Tim Scott. Republicans were just unwilling to give on that question of qualified immunity, even after Booker said that he had gotten buy-in from some police associations, some police unions, to chip away at the protections that qualified immunity affords. That Tim Scott still refused to go there. It's kind of a shield that
that the police are, it's a line that they just do not want to cross.
Yeah, I was trying to tell conservatives, qualified immunity is the same thing that protects teachers and run amok university officials who are, woke university, or the officials caving to woke students and harming free speech on campus.
My thing is this: you got to question the Supreme Court on why would they set that bar so high for police officers, huh? One simple reason: because it's how they want it to be. That's how they want this to be. They're their boys, those police officers. They don't give a fuck about us. It's just simple as that.
It's the same sort of shield that they have. If you want those people held accountable in cases of excess, but not the police, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and there's a contradiction there, because the police talking point is always, these are bad apples. Don't paint all police with a broad brush just because of the wrong actions of a few bad apples.
Right.
But then you're like, okay, well then let us pluck those bad apples out. Like, whoa. No way.
Exactly.
So they're immune.
Exactly.
These are police officers. So, and then, okay, well now you brought it back to the institution. And then the response is, well, then we're just not going to do our job.
Right, exactly.
But please keep setting the paycheck.
Over at Reason Magazine, my colleague Billy Binion reports that the ruling is a major blow to qualified immunity reform. Billy explained, quote, "Qualified immunity allows state actors to violate your rights if the exact way in which they do so has not been ruled unconstitutional in a prior court ruling. It's shielded cops who shot kids, stole huge sums of money, and destroyed property. The list goes on." He went on to say that while the idea behind qualified immunity is that no reasonable cop can be expected to know when they cross a constitutional line unless there's a specific rule, precedent outlining that misbehavior, and added that the ruling gave cover to the police accused of brutality, overturning the prior opinions. So it's a protection that just goes too far. And again, in these specific Supreme Court cases, I looked at the details. You might have well concluded that the police behaved appropriately. One was a man with some kind of weapon, and his family was hiding in the room. And then the police kneeled on him for too long. I think in the other case, the man with a hammer, some kind of weapon, was shot dead. So again, people making threatening gestures to others with weapons, it could be perfectly reasonable for the police to do something. But
in fact, cops get off all the time when they go to court.
Right.
You basically have to be the subject of global outrage,
right,
to get convicted of anything.
Right.
So even though the DAC is stacked so heavily in their favor, they still don't even want to go to the table and play the stacked game.
Yeah, which just doesn't make, we don't want to live, I don't think, in a society where public employees have so much. Private employees don't have this. Like, no one has this level of extra non-accountability except the police. Yeah. And it's just not. It doesn't.
What's interesting, yeah. And so Waleed Shahid, who was with Justice Democrats, was making this point yesterday that we are on the precipice of having the greatest mobilization on behalf of racial justice in the streets in history unfold, not just in the US, but across the world. And we'll have zero federal legislative response. And
zero accountability for police officers around the world. Around the country that keep getting away with over excessive force, police brutality, the same shit that we keep seeing. As long as the Supreme Court protect them, there's always going to be some red tape between police and the people. Simple facts. Number 4, the Supreme Court. Number 3. The Tuskegee experiment, ladies and gentlemen. The Tuskegee experiment. And I got these in an order. I definitely put these in a certain order. It leads all the way up to number 1. But this was very important. Very important reason not to trust your government. Because they've done shit like this before, and it failed. It failed. And it was fucked up. It was some fucked up shit they did. and they know it. The Tuskegee experiment, number 3, ladies and gentlemen. I'll take that back a little bit.
You have an incredible.
It says, all I knew was that they just kept saying I had bad blood. Never mentioned syphilis to me. Not ever, not even once. And that's from Charles Pollard, a survivor of the Tuskegee syphilis experiment. Okay? That's chilling right there. For those who don't know anything about the Tuskegee experiment, it told him that he had bad blood. It never said anything about him having syphilis. Cold-blooded shit they did.
In the 1930s, the United States was ravaged by syphilis. This sexually transmitted infection afflicted nearly 1 in 10 Americans, producing painful sores and rashes that persisted for roughly 2 years. After these initial symptoms, late-stage syphilis was known to cause organ damage, heart and brain disorders, and even blindness. It was incredibly difficult to slow the disease's spread. Experts cautioned against unprotected sex, but the infection could also be passed during childbirth. Worse still, existing treatments like mercury and bismuth were considered unreliable at best and potentially harmful at worst. Today, these heavy metals are classified as toxic, but at the time, doctors were still uncovering their dangerous side effects. Amidst the uncertainty, healthcare professionals had 2 key questions. Did late-stage syphilis warrant the risks of existing treatments? And did the infected individual's race change how the disease progressed? Many physicians were convinced syphilis affected the neurological systems of white patients and the cardiovascular systems of black patients. There was little evidence for this theory, but the U.S. Public Health Service was determined to investigate further. In
Now, if you ask me, okay, I gave that. That was their piece. But if you want my piece, and if you was to ask me, I would say that was a crock of shit, okay? They purposely put this shit out there to see how they could eradicate people of color. Now, that's just my opinion. All right? Because why was it just rampant in the area where there was people of color? Why was the only experiment taken where there was people of color? That just doesn't add up to me. That's bullshit. But say, like Carter G. Woodson says, you gotta learn how to get the bullshit out and leave away with the truth, okay? There's 3 types of motherfuckers. A motherfucker who don't believe nothing you tell them, a motherfucker that believes everything you tell them, a motherfucker who know how to take the bullshit away and keep the truth. So,
1932, they launched a massive experiment in Tuskegee, Alabama. The town had already possessed a small hospital, and the area was home to a large population of potential participants. The PHS collaborated with local doctors and nurses to recruit roughly 400 black men, presumed to have non-contagious late-stage syphilis, as well as 200 non-syphilitic black men for their control group. But their recruitment plan centered on a lie. While the researchers planned to observe how syphilis would progress with minimal treatment, participants were told they...
Shout outs, Wake Up America and Resist. Appreciate the donation. Wake Up America, Resist. Appreciate you.
...would receive free drugs and care for their condition. At first, researchers gave the men existing treatments, but these were soon replaced with placebos. Under the false pretense of providing a special remedy, researchers performed painful and invasive spinal taps to investigate the disease's neurological consequences. When patients died, the PHS would swoop in to study the body by funding funerals in exchange for autopsies. In their published studies, they listed the men as volunteers to obscure the circumstances under which they'd been recruited. Outside Alabama, syphilis treatment was advancing. A decade after the study began, clinical trials confirmed that penicillin effectively cured the disease in its early stages. But in Tuskegee, researchers were determined to keep pursuing what they considered vital research. They had yet to confirm their theories about racial difference, and they believed they would never have another opportunity to observe the long-term effects of untreated syphilis. The study's leadership decided to withhold knowledge of new treatments from their subjects. During World War II, researchers convinced the local draft board to exempt men from their study, preventing them from enlisting and potentially accessing penicillin.
Of course. Or why wouldn't they exempt them from drafting? They don't want that shit spread to healthy soldiers that's trying to terrorize another country in Korea. Some fucking where. They don't want that. They would have weak men. They would have weak soldiers. So they got to get those people that they infected the fuck out of there, exempt them, and they'll deal with them on their own time. Because remember, this was 40 years of research, ladies and gentlemen, so-called research in Tuskegee.
The study even continued through the 1950s when penicillin was shown to help manage late-stage syphilis. By today's bioethical...
Shout out Stop Resisting Justice and everybody else. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, everybody. Appreciate y'all. We brought this 2022 one by talking about the 20 reasons to not trust the government. And it's real. We should be talking about it because it's 2022. Why not?
Standards. Withholding treatment in a research study without a patient's informed consent is morally abhorrent. But for a large part of the 20th century, this practice was not uncommon. In the 1940s, U.S.-led studies in Guatemala infected numerous prisoners, sex workers, soldiers, and mental health patients with sexually transmitted infections.
And that video goes on to talk about how they did the same thing in certain parts of the world, in other countries. But I just brought it to you, back to you, because I know y'all heard about this 100 times over. You had to. This got blown up. I'm just bringing it back to you. This is a reason to not trust your government. Number 3, ladies and gentlemen, the Tuskegee experiment. Why would you trust your government after they did some shit like this? I'm just saying. Number 2, ladies and gentlemen. There's a little story goes around back about 83, 84, 85, and all the way on up to the mid-90s, that America, sweet Mrs. America, was selling drugs to the good people of Los Angeles. Well, I'd be damned. Number 2 would be the crack epidemic, ladies and gentlemen. The crack epidemic. Oh, this shit ain't just come about out of nowhere. Oh man, this shit was deeper than what a lot of you think it is, okay? This shit made so much money. And I'm not talking about the money within America, ladies and gentlemen. I'm talking about the money that it made outside America. I'm talking about the money that it made to fund the Nicaraguan war. You know, the Sandinistas, when they was coming through and spreading communism, while America and all that shit. And, you know, America decided to use the money that they made from giving the good, wholesome black people of the city of Los Angeles crack. And that money they made, they sent it over to an Iranian arms dealer. So in turn, they could send that shit down to Nicaragua to help them fund the war. Well, I'll be damned.
Its eye on America. Accusations, underscore the word accusations,
that are nothing short of explosive. They are that the CIA knowingly and intentionally did what amount to pump crack cocaine into Los Angeles to help fund rebels in Nicaragua. Whether or not these claims prove true, the anger they produced is very real. The Justice Department and Congress are investigating, and so is CBS News. Here's what correspondent Bill Whitaker can report to you tonight.
The decade-and-a-half crack epidemic has exacted a ruinous toll.
It breaks my heart.
For 10 years, Eloise Dangerfield has been rescuing the littlest victims, crack babies, from the death grip in which the drug...
I gotta stop that right there, because even though I'm trying to point some truth out, there's still always some bullshit that's, included with the truth. So I gotta separate the bullshit, and I gotta let y'all know right here that there's no such thing as crack babies. Okay? Well, it's been proven. And that's why when I watch movies of actors portraying crackheads, and they show them all leaning over and holding their fucking stomach like Pookie from New Jack City. Shout out to I.E. Dixon. What's good? My man, haven't seen him in a long time. D. Hayes. Happy New Year to both of y'all. But when you see actors portray crackheads in a movie, they bent all the fuck over and sweating and shit. We already know that there's no physical effect from withdrawing from crack. Okay? And it's been proven that there's no effect with babies who were born by mothers who were crackheads. And crackheads alone, should I say, ladies and gentlemen, because there has been effects to the babies, but there was more going on than just crack. Okay? Alcoholism. All right? Probably taking opioids. There was a combination of things that made the baby, that put the baby in a fucked up situation. But a crack baby, I'm letting y'all know now, ladies and gentlemen, there's no truth to it. That was just something to be put out there to make the situation even worse. And that's real rap. That is real rap.
Has ensnared much of South Central Los Angeles.
We see a lot of our children being neglected and they're abandoned. And all of this is behind crack.
Along with crack came the thud of police truncheons, a boom in drug arrests and homicides.
Read it, but you can't just keep it to yourself.
So when LA's black citizens heard of the San Jose Mercury News reports claiming CIA-backed Contras opened the first pipeline for Colombian cocaine to their communities, their first reaction, shock. Their second, anger.
You want to know why black people don't believe in the government? Because we know what the government is capable of.
My God.
What's next?
Facing life in prison, LA's biggest crack dealer now is saying he was a pawn in a CIA plot. And his argument was convincing enough that a federal judge postponed sentencing to consider evidence that his main supplier was an agency operative.
His whole intentions was for me to make more money. The more money I made, the more money he made, and I guess the more money that he would have to help sponsor the war.
There is no evidence directly linking the CIA to the drug sales, and the CIA says its own internal investigation has found no connection. Yet here at ground zero of the crack explosion, the story simply won't go away, and new circumstantial evidence raises new questions.
It's basically immoral.
Prominent LA attorney Harlan Braun insists there is strong evidence of a CIA drug connection. Braun is no radical. In fact, he represented one of the LAPD officers in the Rodney King case. Earlier, he handled a law enforcement corruption case and filed this motion. It details a 1986 house search in which deputies found a man.
Crack epidemic, ladies and gentlemen. Do I need to go more into that? If y'all want to hear more about that, I could do a special on that, because that could go for hours. That shit was deep, okay? I could pull up interviews of the inside scoop of the people who are directly affected by that shit. I could go give you interviews of the dealers who had no idea how that shit was turning out to be, how it was going to have people. Nobody had an idea what they was fucking with. I can show you interviews of police officers who would find fucking keys and keys of the shit and had no idea what it was and let people go. Okay? This shit is crazy. That was number 2, ladies and gentlemen. The crack epidemic. I want to give a special shout out to everybody in the chat. Rooster Cockburn, he says, I tried crack one time and one time only. You really do hear locomotive trains. Wow. And that's crazy. But it's real. It's real. Shout out to everybody that made it up out that situation, okay? Another thing is it's not as addictive as they say it is, because that was the case. Everybody be fucked up. They say it's what? 99% effective? That's bullshit. A human is stronger than that. Human can't let that shit. Every human is not going to let that shit tear them down. You know, this is the shit that they put out there. If you fuck with it, get done. Mentally, it's in your head, and 9 times out of 10, when you fuck with it, get done. But there are strong people that came up out of that shit, and shout outs to them. Shout outs to them. That's real. Number 1, ladies and gentlemen. Number 1. And we're going to make this short and sweet because this is the most controversial one. Okay, this is the one that could get me snipped real smooth like. Shout out to Mike Jones. Happy New Year's, my man. Grab it hard. Happy New Year's. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this one because we already know what the deal is. In today's day and age, ladies and gentlemen, number fucking 1, okay, would be America's illegal, tyrannical motherfucking order. Okay, set by one and only Joe Biden. A couple months ago, made an announcement that corporations are going to have to follow his order. Since then, a couple of cities have adopted the order as well. Most notably the one that I'm in, Boston, Massachusetts. Piece of shit Michelle Wu has dropped the hammer down on the city, and any leisure time that you want to spend in public, you have to show fucking papers. You have to show fucking papers, and that's going to be coming down on Bostonians' asses in a few days. Number 1, ladies and gentlemen, America's illegal tyrannical order.
My message to unvaccinated Americans is this. What more is there to wait for?
Wow.
What more do you need to see?
Wow.
We've made vaccinations free, safe, and convenient. The vaccine is FDA approval. Over 200 million Americans have gotten at least one shot.
That's crazy.
We've been patient.
I know a couple of motherfuckers that got what he just said people got. I know a couple of motherfuckers that got what he just said people got and still got the shit. And he just said, look what he said at the beginning. He's brushing. He's eager for a motherfucker to get this. But look at his approach, his delivery. He comes straight up out of his fucking mouth and says,
the message to unvaccinated Americans is this. What more is there to wait for?
Wow.
What more do you need to see?
That's crazy.
We've made vaccinations free, safe, and convenient. The vaccine is FDA approval. Over 200 million Americans have gotten at least one shot. We've been patient, but our patience is wearing thin.
Whoa. That's some deep shit right there he just said. He said we've been patient, but our patience is wearing thin. That sound like dictator talk to me. I thought this was America, people.
Safe and convenient. The vaccine is FDA approval. Over 200 million Americans have gotten at least one shot. You've been patient, but our patience is wearing thin, and your refusal has cost all of us. So please do the right thing. But just don't take it from me. Listen to the voices of unvaccinated Americans.
They done drew a line. They done made it us against them, or them against us. However you want to look at it. But he's trying to separate the people. This has been done in so many ways in history, okay? And people are starting to fall for the game again. Shout out Oregon Road. People are starting to fall for the game again. Ladies and gentlemen, I just bring it to your face, okay? I just show you the shit that they say to you, the shit that happened, and I try to get you to not forget. This was my 20 reasons to not trust the government. And I hope you guys can accept that with just one grain of salt and do the research on your own. Okay? Please share. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. It's been 2 hours and 34 minutes. All right? I did this purposely. I wanted to bring in the new year in with you guys. Appreciate that. But I had to bring this to y'all. Expect more from the resistance in the future. I give it the way it comes, okay? If there's juice, then I'll bring you juice. If there's no juice, then I don't bring you no juice. I'll just bring you some news on what's going on. It's 2022. And see, my question to you is, this is my question. What has the government done for you? What has the government done for you to trust it? If you can put that in the chat right now, or better yet, I'm going to do something better than that. This is what I'm going to do. Okay, there we go. I'm going to drop the link. And if you can challenge me on any of these things, if you want to, you can come on up and you can speak your piece and we can debate about it. Or if you don't want to do that, you can put it in the chat on what has the government done for you to trust them. It's 2022, ladies and gentlemen. I'm happy to bring it in with you. I'm going to fade the black. Remember, put that in the chat if you can. A couple minutes, I'm going to cut this stream. Y'all be safe out there. I'll make sure y'all see some tyranny of corruption. Pull out your camera and record it. This is the resistance. Shout outs to Queen, Annetta Williams, all the way from Wynne, Arkansas. D. Hayes, Patrick Bellarmine. Perfect Sense. Grab It Hard. Dreamland Resistance. Loke Resistor from Weymouth, UK. Roaster Cogburn. Special shout out to a loyal resistor. Wake up, America, and resist. Wake up, America, and resist. Shout outs to you, brother. Happy 2022. Resisting level is futile. Shout out to resisting level is futile. Another loyal supporter. Make sure y'all have a good night. I'm about to eat some black eyed peas. Hit the lights!